You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the January 8th meeting of the Michigan City Port Authority Commission. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
To the Michigan City Port Authority Board of Directors meeting for what's today, January 8th, 2024. I guess the best thing is to get approval for the minutes right off. So if we have somebody that would want to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for last meeting.
Do you have a second for that?
Second.
And second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes pass. Tim Harbor, Master.
Right, all right.
Yeah.
Well, as of today, the Festival of Lights has ended. So today we picked up all the extension cords and started taking down all the displays, and they'll go back into storage until next year. We got several compliments this year on the way we had it laid out. So that was a nice thing. We've also continued on now with our winter projects, and a couple examples of those. We're doing some rehab work on our smaller barge that we had left out of the water last year. That'll be going back in this spring. We also pulled our little Carolina skiff in. We repainted the bottom, cleaned it all out, did some fiberglass repair on that. And then we started going through the chains and the buoys for the swim buoys that we put out. There's a few other things we'll be taking care of as winter goes along, but that's where we are at the moment. Unless anybody has any questions, I'll let it go at that.
Any questions from the board?
Chris, did the motor, was it a Johnson motor that you had to order as a replacement?
It's a Yamaha.
Yamaha, did that come in?
Yeah, they have it. It's just a matter of scheduling with Hubers to come put it on.
Okay.
But we had to mount the helm, get it all put back together, because we took that apart as part of the work we did last year to replace some floats from underneath. We couldn't get to the bolts.
Oh,
Right.
sure.
So now we're putting the helm back together. As soon as we have that back together, Hubers will come over, run the cables, mount the hardware,
Nice.
and that'll be good.
Good, okay.
Another question?
Yeah, just one question and a comment for Tim. I think I mentioned something a couple months ago about any dredging from front of the harbor all the way to Trail Creek Marina. Any noticeable thing that you're looking at that might need anything this year?
Not that I'm aware of yet.
Good.
The water's down, but it's normally down this time of year.
Okay.
So we'll see where it goes to in the spring, but
Okay.
I have not heard it from anybody that they had any difficulty this fall
Good.
coming out.
Is the Army Corps of Engineers going to dredge that creek?
I don't believe so. I know the King and Company sat here for a couple weeks in December.
Okay.
I think they were just passing through.
Oh, okay.
I believe there is a Corps project coming up to do some more stone placement on the outer break wall,
Yeah,
but I haven't gotten the details on that yet.
okay.
But I have not heard anything on dredging this year.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other question?
I just had a positive comment. Over the holidays, looking for a few things to do sometimes. So I took a couple, 2 or 3 days, I took a couple look-sees through on Spring Point and Trail Creek, just to kind of see what's happening. And I was very impressed on how picked up and clean, and how the boats were, all the storage boats were put in nice, neat order, and it really looked like a top-notch professional job that we were doing down there. I know Dan used to do a pretty good job of that also, but looks like that's been carried over. My compliments to you and your staff.
Well, thank you.
That's all.
Any other questions? Well, I have a comment about the Christmas lights. They were absolutely impressive this year. Very, very nice. I think every year it gets better and better.
Thank you.
And my kids were here and from out of town and went through there, and it kind of blew their mind. They were really, really excited about seeing that. So you guys did a great job, and so did the park board.
They are pretty.
Yeah, it was beautiful this year. Okay, no other questions? Mary Ann, report from our Assistant Harbor Master, please.
But right now, there are no bills tonight because we're in the process of closing out for 2023.
Okay,
And right now, we're busy in the office with the payments coming in because they're due on the 15th.
okay. So the city's still working on,
Yeah, everybody's working on to
do you
get
have
that
any idea
closed.
when that'll be completed?
Next couple days.
Okay, so probably by the next meeting we should be.
Yeah,
All right.
oh yeah.
Thank you. Any questions for Mary Ann? I see no questions. Let's move on to Sam Ferguson. Well, with no bills and stuff, I guess you probably don't have, but.
As Mary Ann said, there are no bills today. I'm sure that'll be starting to come in. Just kind of, offices obviously catching up on the financial paperwork. They were closed for a couple weeks or so. One comment, I was wondering if we got a pretty good slew of revenue coming in for the month of December, or whether it was a little slow. Did it get in?
December,
Or did you hold off until January to book all that, you know?
it's always slow coming in. Once it hits Thanksgiving, the people,
Okay.
it just slows down.
Okay, no, I don't have anything else. Preliminarily, I won't make a comment. Preliminarily, I took a look at what the year plan expenses versus revenue was for the year. Looked pretty good. As Mary Ann said, there are a lot of adjustments to make, the normal stuff at the year end, but we got a very positive outlook so far. We'll see what happens. I have been trying to keep up on where the good areas were and where any potential problem areas. We'll kind of go forward. But everything looks pretty good. That's all I have.
Any questions for Sam? Hearing no questions, let's move on to John Haynes, claims and insurance. John, anything?
I have nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. Socrates is not here. Dan Messina, Boating Communications Special Events.
I know of no special events going on. Did read a good article, one was sent to me and sent to a lot of people, and I'll bring in the copies maybe next meeting and let you all have it. But briefly what it is, mostly for fishermen. They're looking for an increase or a separate license for all Great Lakes fishermen. And it's a $26 fee to have an extra license besides your regular state license, and that would give you the right to fish 3 additional rods per boat.
So that means they could fish in Michigan and Illinois, huh?
It's all the Great Lakes, even Ohio and Lake Erie and stuff. Now, it only pertains to certain fish that you can fish for. But in my case, I usually just myself and another guy go out, we can just fish 6 rods, because right now it's 3 per person, per license in each state. So we can only fish by rule or regulation, 6 rods. And to me, a benefit would be to put out 3 or 6 more, and for a $26 fee. And what they want it for is a lot for stocking of the salmon and trout on all the Great Lakes, and also to do a little more research on the cormorants. Have you read that article? Maybe I'll send it to you. So it's not only here do we have them roosting at night in the tree, but all the Great Lakes, they're seeing an increase. It didn't say what they're going to do to change their population, but some of the fees are going to go towards that. And it's still upward. They're going to go to a lot of the tournament committees, probably a lot of the associations that have to do on the Great Lakes, like our Charter Boat Association. They'll probably look to them to see input, to get their thoughts on the increase, rather than increasing the cost of a license. It's an additional license that you can have for additional rods per boat. The salmon and trout catch, their regulation will stay the same. Only so many species per boat, per license, so that will not change. But it's quite an article, and I'll send it to, I'll bring it in a copy for everybody to have next meeting, and maybe I'll just email you, Mr. Frame, to take a look at it.
I have a question for you, Ann. When do they come up with the dates for the special events? the special fishing areas?
Pretty much each port comes up with the same date that they had the previous year. Because just about every port along the Michigan side and up the Illinois side and or Indiana keep the same dates, so you don't try and cross. So almost every
So
weekend.
is that what we're
Yeah,
probably gonna be doing?
May 1st, first weekend in May will be our big classic tournament. The weekend prior to that will be our pro-am or our mini tournament that we have. So they're pretty much the same every year around the lake.
I asked that because a friend of mine asked me that. And, wanted to prepare to fish in some of these tournaments, you know, so. Okay.
That's all I have.
Any questions for Dan? All right, let's move on to Bruce Manor. I believe that's me, Master Planning and Special Projects, Park Liaison. I have nothing to report from Master Planning and Special Projects other than the fact that we're going to contact Colin and we're going to start on some of these things that we had printed out before about what's going to happen next year in terms of some of our planning and stuff like that. We've reached out to him, but he hasn't come back to us yet, right? So we'll just wait and see what happens with that. The other thing I had for the Park Liaison, this doesn't apply to any of us here, and it has nothing to do with the Port Authority, but I like to put things out like this for the board and also for anyone who watches our meetings that if they're interested in this stuff. They're going to have an Uptown Social 5K walk and run event. And that's going to be on June the 27th. And it's going to start, I believe it's 6:40. Why would that be? 6:40. They're supposed to ride into the park at 6:40. Is that right, Phil?
I don't recall the time, that sounds right.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to arrive in the park at 6:40 if anybody wants to participate or be down here to see that happen. That's 6 months away, but still. And the other thing I had was from the park board meeting. They're still working on the parking lot paving. That hasn't been funded yet, and according to our new park superintendent, they are working on that to try to get that funded, but it hasn't happened yet. And one of the things that I believe Dan was interested in, I don't have any results of what the Water Tower Park grant has been funded. Okay, that I know. I don't know how much it is, and I don't know when it's going to start, and I don't know what's going to take place there as far as it being funded and what's going to be put in there. But it has been funded, so they're moving forward on that. Now, whether it's going to include pickleball courts, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But they do have the money for it. And that's really all I have. We'll move on to Amanda. Any questions for me first? No questions? Okay, Amanda, advertising and public relations?
With it being the beginning of the year, we have not gotten any information from the events going on, what the dates are, and what the sponsorship packages run, so I have nothing new to report at the moment.
Okay.
You're not gonna have any trouble spending your planned money.
Oh no, that's the easy part.
Ferdinand, is the budget the same as it was last year? I think it was $10,000 we had to spend on advertising. Did
Yeah.
that stay the same, or did it?
I think that mine went up a little bit.
I didn't look at the budget, but
I think we did have to pull, I think, like $500 extra for last year to cover all the events, because there was some increases in the packages, so I think we just had to increase it just a little bit.
Yeah, it did go up a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't remember the figure though.
But for a long time, it was the same, so, you know, with inflation, unfortunately, it makes sense.
looks like our treasurer is trying to look it up now.
Well, I just, 15,000.
15?
15 looks like, maybe another 15 in contractual stuff. Yeah, Mary Ann probably has a better handle on it, but she probably had to look it up a little bit. Anyway, it looks like maybe, oh, she wrote that down, that's bad.
Oh, it's okay.
My wife does that.
So she can show you later, this is what she said.
No.
Okay. That's all I have.
Any other questions for Amanda? If not, let's move on to our attorney report from.
Well, Mrs. Palecki advised me that the lease for the sandwich shop is up. So we're gonna have to put that out for bid and solicit bids and then try to get a tenant in there. Maybe the same tenant, but we've gotta wait and see what the bidding process produces. So I'll plan on working with you this week for that. I put together a notice of request for proposals and emailed that to you, so we can get that finished off. And then, as I indicated at the last meeting, I'll be working with staff to put together the report on the internal controls and get that to the board for our February meeting. And that's all I have.
Internal controls. Any questions?
Just a question on the base camp, right?
Well, yeah, the sandwich shop.
Right. Just
Is that what they call it, base camp?
any indication whether it's a yay or a nay with them?
Yeah, she's interested.
Thank you. That's all.
Any other questions? John, you got anything to say?
Oh, that's a question. Go ahead, go ahead.
No, I got nothing.
Okay. I was gonna say, we're down here for January 22nd is our next meeting. I know last year we skipped over that date. I don't know if we're going to this year or not.
Why did we do that?
We
We did it last year, I know.
we don't have
don't
any
that.
meetings anymore.
No, I just don't remember. It is. I remember December, but I didn't remember anything.
Well, what's the board's pleasure on that? I mean, that was something that had to be voted on, I think.
Just a comment, Mr. Vice President. Is there anything pressing over the next couple of weeks that the staff knows about?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so.
Well, I entertain a motion if somebody,
Well, I'll make the motion since I brought it up, and since we did it last year, the January 22nd meeting, we will, do you want to delete it, bypass it,
What would be the next one?
and the following one would be February.
The first meeting in the
February.
first Monday in February.
Does that conflict with, there's several holidays in February. Does that conflict with that?
the holidays are,
The President's Day is the 19th.
yeah, and Valentine's Day and all that stuff is.
That's not a holiday.
It is this house.
If you reach my wife, it's a holiday.
It is in the madness house.
I was just about to say, your wife definitely considers it a holiday.
No, that would be the 5th, I think.
Well, we've had a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
But I believe it would be February 5th.
Yes.
Cancel our meeting for January the 22nd. You get that, Phil? No meeting on the 22nd of January.
Yes.
It'll be
Okay.
on the 19th.
And our cameraman also, so he knows when
I think it
that.
agendas too.
Okay, did it? Okay. Then you'll send out the date for the whole year, probably,
Yeah.
or have them available to
Yeah.
February. Those are always nice and handy. Okay.
Is there anything new with the signage? No, so we won't take that off the table then. Okay. Now, John, you gotta have something to say.
Okay, to do that conversation. So the next meeting is February 5th, Monday.
Yes,
Okay. With that, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
we are adjourned.